pace, making sure that nothing is causing pain or discomfort, as in joint pain. Muscular discomfort, same, it's up to you. If you want to stop and have a little rest, to stop and rest. If you can keep going for as long as you can. Usual props, a band. If I don't have a band, a belt, strap, anything that I can use instead. And then the ball, if I don't have the ball, a cushion, a rolled up towel that I can use instead of the ball. So if you're seated as usual, see if you can try and sit up nice and straight, nice and tall, making sure that I'm not compressing and squashing the diaphragm, preventing that breath, preventing that nice, easy breath. So see if I can pick myself up a little bit more, a little bit better. If you're lying down, just allowing yourself to relax completely down the mat, the head is supported, the arms relax down the side, the legs can be straight or bent. And then focusing on the breath. Feeling the belly raising, feeling the belly expanding on the inhalation, and then relaxing on the exhalation. I'm not trying to force the belly out. I'm just letting the breath create that movement. Just make sure that you're not breathing from the top. So collarbones, front of the chest, the shoulders, the neck, the throat, nice and soft and nice and relaxed. And then as you keep that breathing going, as usual, running that quick scan over the body. So if I'm seated, trying to test the pressure under the seat bone, is it the same? Am I sitting straight? Am I slightly to one side? Is my head centered? If you're laying down, just to use the floor as a guideline, is the pressure the same between my right and my left shoulder, my right and my left hip? Is the head in the middle? Are the arms the same? Are the legs in the same position? As usual, I'm not changing anything, just noticing where everything is and how I feel to begin with. And then once that I feel a little bit more settled, the breath feels a little bit more relaxed too, I'm going to start focusing on the shoulders. I'm going to start with a little elevation, depression. So I'm going to shrug the shoulders up to the head, pull them up to the ears, and then I'm going to press them down and away. So I'm going to pull them out and then press them down. Same as usual. Think of, especially if you're seated, think of the two extremes position. So if I let my shoulders come forward, even slightly, as I press down, the majority of the tension is across the front of my chest. If I exaggerate and push the shoulders back, the majority of the tension will be behind the shoulder into the back. What I want is somewhere in between the two extremes, where I feel that the front of the chest and the back of the shoulders are working in balance. So one is not working harder than the other. So see if I can try and play with the position slightly until I feel that front and back are nice and balanced, and I can just feel the movement up and down. The lower back is keeping steady. I'm not leaning backwards. I'm not leaning forward. If you're lying down, imagine your shoulder blades like two little carts that you're running up your head and then trying to run them away from it. Up your head and then down and away from it. 3, 2, 1. Return to center, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing through the back, and then changing the direction of the effort. Instead of elevation, depression, I'm going to go into protraction, retraction. So I'm going to pull the shoulders forward, and then I'm going to push them back. So if I'm laying down, I'm trying to pull the shoulder blades off the mat, and then I'm going to push them into the mat. I'm going to try and pull them off and then push them into the mat. If I'm seated, exactly the same. Imagine a wall behind you. On protracting the shoulders will be pulling away from that wall. And then on retracting the shoulders will be pushing into the wall. So a little forward and a little back. Just make sure that you're not elevating. So I'm not shrugging the shoulders up to my head, up to my ears. 3, 2, last one. And release. Easing the shoulders back to the middle. And then I'm going to combine all 4 directions, up, down, forward, and back. So I'm going to go into circles. If I'm seated, I've got all space possible, so I can make my circles really big if I want to. If I'm laying down, obviously a little bit of restriction because I'm lying down on the back, but I can still move the shoulders. So I'm going to start circling the shoulders back. There'll be all sorts of scrunching and clicking noises. It's normal. As far as there is no pain, I'm going to keep going nice and big. If there is pain, then I'm just going to ease on the size of the movement, making sure that I'm still moving, but without any pain. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, relaxing the shoulders, adjusting the upper body. So there's a little bit more movement through the shoulder girdle. I'm going to see if I can create a little bit more movement now into the upper back. I'm going to grab hold of the ball, the pillow, or I don't need anything. I could just put my hands in there, so it doesn't really matter. Mind the plug if you're using the ball, make sure there's not touching the skin or it might scratch. I'm going to place the ball against the sternum, against the breastbone. And then I'm just going to place both hands over the ball, making sure that the arms are staying tucked in so they're not flying out, so the shoulders is not tensing. And then from there, imagine to be taking the shape of the ball. So I'm going to curl the head forward, curl the shoulders. I'm going to try and wrap myself into the ball. And then I'm going to ease my way back down. If you're lying down, you've got to lift the head off the mat. So if you find that the neck is straining a little bit, you might want to hold the ball with one hand and then just hold the head with the other. So I'm just going to try and wrap myself around and then ease my way back. If you're seated, I don't need the support for the head, so I can just keep both hands onto the ball and then wrap myself into the ball. So think of your shoulders coming forward as if they were trying to hug the ball around, and then the head is just going to drop down. I can feel the stretch behind the back, and then I'm just going to release, go back into neutral, and then forward into flexion again. So see if I can try and ease off some of the stiffness from the back of the rib cage. So see if I can try and get some movement going into the middle of the back. 5. Keeping the elbows down, the shoulders down. 4. 3. 2. 1. And release. Giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. So a little bit more movement into the upper back. I'm going to see if I can now create more movement, but working in rotation. So I'm just going to reach the arms to the front, clasp the hands together, and then taking a deep breath in. As I breathe out, I'm going to start swinging the arms around to the right. So I'm going to rotate to the right as far as the body will allow me to turn. I'm going to inhale back to the middle, and then exhale, I'm going to rotate the other way without forcing the movement. If you're seated, check that when you're turning, you're still up. You're not suddenly hunching forward, hunching down. So my head is still lifted on top of the shoulders are down. The spine is still upright. I'm just rotating around the spine. So I'm not creating pressure. If you're lying down, just use the mat to guide you. So as I swing the arms around, I'm going to follow them to one side. One shoulder will be lifting, one shoulder will be dropping into the mat. And then I'm going to rotate the other way. As usual, comparing right and left side, I feel that my rotation to the left is a lot easier. Rotation to the right feels a bit more restricted. If you feel that one side feels more restricted compared to the other, see if you can notice what's causing the restriction. Is it tension at the back of the shoulder? Is it the rotation through the back? Is it tension around the waist or the rib cage? If I notice there's some tension anywhere within the body, imagine to be able to breathe into that tension. So I want to try and relax that tension. See if I can create a better, or at least an easier movement to the side. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then easing back, adjusting the shoulders, a little bit more movement into the upper back. I'm going to make sure that the movement through the upper back has not created tension into the neck. So keeping the shoulders nice and still, I'm going to turn to look over the right shoulder, and then holding the head to the right, I'm going to place my right hand onto the side of the face, onto the side of the cheek, wherever I feel that I can kind of like grip a little bit, or, you know, put a little pressure. And then I'm just going to push the head a little bit further around without forcing, making sure that I'm turning, not leaning backwards. So there's no pinching into the back of the neck. So it's just a little pressure. I'm going to hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ease the pressure, turn the head back to the middle, and then over to the left side. Keeping it there, left hand onto the left cheek. And then see if I can get a little bit more turning in that direction without forcing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And easing back, returning the head back to the middle. I'm going to retest my rotation, turning to look around the right, turning to look around the left, right, and left. And then on the next one, as I turn to the right, I'm going to hold the head to the right. Instead of trying to turn more, I'm going to tuck down. So I want you to be taking your nose to your shoulder. So I'm going to drop the nose down to the shoulder. I should be able to feel a little stretch that from the, almost like the back of the ear, the base of the skull comes down the side of the neck into the top of the shoulder. I'm just going to ease that tension there. If you're lying down, same. I'm going to turn and then tuck in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Easing the head back, adjusting the position of the head. And then I'm going to turn the other way. So head to look over the left shoulder. And then I'm going to drop the nose down to the shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And easing your way back. Returning back to the middle, retesting the side to side. So I'm going to turn to look around one way, turn to look around the other. One more time. Turn the other way. And then coming back to the middle. And then easing the head back to the middle. So a little bit looser through the neck. I've got some movement into the upper back. See if I can focus on the lower back. I'm going to start off with a nice easy massage on the back of the pelvis. So I'm going to start off with a little pelvic tilt. So if you're seated, see if you can get the little posterior and anterior rotation into the hips. So I'm going to rock back onto my tailbone and then try and come forward onto my seat bones. Roll back onto my tailbone, and then forward onto the seat bones. So see if you can feel a change into your lower back. If you're lying down, use the mat to guide you. As I posteriorly rotate, as I tilt back, the lower back is going to flatten against the floor. As I go forward, it's going to lift away. So as I tilt back, it's going to flatten. As I go forward, it's going to lift away. So just a little massage, just a gentle forward and back. I'm not tensing through my glutes. I'm not pushing harder through the legs. Think of just a little tension coming from the belly. I'm going to curl back and then ease forward. Curl back and then ease forward. 5, 4, so just the lumbar. 3, 2, 1, and easing back, releasing through the lower back, and then I'm going to start getting into a little hip hinge. So same as usual, I'm going to hinge the right hip up towards the right side of the rib cage. So if I'm seated, it should be feeling almost as if I'm kind of like walking my seat bones are slightly up and down on the chair. I can use the hands to offer a little support if I need, but see if you can be aware of the tension into the side of the belly. So the belly tenses to pull the hip up, to hitch the hip up, and then hitch the other side. If I'm laying down, the back of the hips stay flat against the floor, flat against the mat. And then imagine the pelvis like a little pendulum doing a little swing. So as I hitch up on the right, the pelvis moves slightly to the right. As I hitch up on the left, it's going to move slightly to the left. So from one side to the other. Again, nice and easy. Just trying to mobilize the lower back. I'm not pulling too hard. I'm not tensing too much. Just a little movement. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back, readjusting the hips. So there's a little bit more movement into the lower back too. I'm going to start focusing on hips and shoulders a little bit more. Working with the hip first, I want to try and warm up into the hip joint. So I'm going to focus on the right leg first. I'm going to if I'm lying down, I'm going to lift to the right leg so that the right thigh is pointing straight up at the ceiling. If I find that I can't hold the leg here, I'm just going to use my strap behind the leg so that I can control it with my arms a little bit more. If I'm seated, I'm not expecting to hold the leg up as it's too heavy as I'm sitting down. But if I feel that the leg is a little bit temperamental, so it doesn't want to move or feels too heavy to move, then I'm still going to use the band around the back of the leg so that I can guide the leg around. I'm going to start drawing little circles with the leg, round and round. See if you can be aware of the movement happening at your hip joint. So I'm trying to warm up into the hip. So I'm trying to find a smooth movement. I don't want anything to grind, anything to pinch, anything to catch. So if I'm seated, the foot might not even lift off the ground. So it might be a very, very small circle. It doesn't matter. Just making sure that I don't feel that the back is straining to pull up on the leg. It feels loose. I'm going to reverse the circles. I'm going to go the other way. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. and release. Relaxing the leg, trying to warm up onto that left side. So if I need to, I'm going to put the band around the back of the left leg so that I can guide it with the arms. And then I'm just going to start going into those little circles. So again, see if I can just a picture, really seeing the thigh bone turning into the hip socket. So I'm just massaging as if I was massaging the inside of the pelvis, the back of the pelvis by moving the leg. So only a little movement. If you're laying down, making sure that the hips are holding stable, so the hips are not rocking all over the place. If I can stabilize the hips and just move the leg. 3, 2, 1. Reversing the circle, going the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing back. Relaxing into the hip. I'm going to let the hip relax for a bit. And then this time focusing more on the shoulder. For the shoulder, instead of going straight into circle, I'm going to split the movement. So I'm going to start going first into arm raises, both arms together. I'm going to start raising the arms up to the front, and then I'm going to reach them up, reach them back as far as my shoulders will allow me to go. Then returning the arms back by the side, and then trying again. If I'm laying down, I'm working with gravity, so the movement feels easier. The arms are a lot lighter, a lot easier to move. If I'm working in seated, I'm working against the gravity, so the arms feel a lot heavier. The shoulders will fatigue a lot quicker. So it doesn't matter if I can't take the arms all the way up. Make sure that when the arms go up, the shoulders are staying down. So imagine the arm to float, as if I was trying to hold on to 2 balloons, that they're allowing my arms to float up. And then I'm just going to pull them down and then let them float back up again. So nice and easy, noticing if one side feels maybe better than the other. Making sure that I'm not arching to take my arms up. Making sure that I'm not stiffening through the neck, the top of the shoulders to take the arms up there. 3, 2, last one. And easing them down, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, changing the direction of the movement. So still working with both arms together. This time, instead of going into a front raise, I'm going to go into a lateral raise. So turning the palms to face away from the body, to face out to the side. I'm going to scoop them around and then bring them towards the head. Then I'm going to take them back and then trying again. Same as usual, whether you're lying down or sitting up. If I feel that the straight to the side feels too much on my shoulder, I'm just going to allow the arms to swing slightly forward. So making it a little bit shallower, but still see if I can get the little movement going. So imagine to have like a big Swiss ball in front of you. I'm just trying to wipe the top of the Swiss ball with my hands, making the Swiss ball just as big or small as it works for my shoulders, so both of my shoulders. And as usual, if the shoulder clicks, it always clicks at exactly the same point. So when I get close to the point, I'm just going to try and play with the position of the arm. I'm just going to change my palm slightly and then see if I can get rid of that clicking. If that works, so then I found the piece of the puzzle that fits. So I'm going to try and find that same position each time to avoid the clicking. If it still clicks, then I'm going to change the position of the hand again until, if possible, I'm going to try and find the right combination between the arm and the shoulder that allows me to lift the arm up into a smoother swing without that clicking, without the clunking into the shoulder. 3, 2, 1, and ease and back. Giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. Now that I've got a little movement to the front and to the side, I'm going to go into circles. I'm going to focus on one side at a time. If you're lying down, I want you to roll over onto the side as if you were setting up for opening and closing doors. So I'm just going to tuck my knees in, keep them bent. Bottom arm, I'm going to reach straight forward, straight ahead. So I'm resting on the back of the shoulder. I'm already slightly rotated. The head can be resting on the mat. I'm just going to put a little cushion under the head if I feel that it's not in line with the rest of the body. It just feels uncomfortable for the neck. And then from here, imagine with your hand to be drawing a circle around the body. So I'm going to start from the front. I'm going to go up to the head, round to the back, all the way to the hips, all the way to the front. And then I'm going to reverse that circle. If you're seated, pick one side. So I'm going to move my right side, my right arm. I'm going to start bringing the arm up to the front. I'm going to turn the body and then go with the arm as I reach around the back, all the way back to the front. And then I'm going to reverse my circle. So I'm going to start from the bottom. I'm going to turn, pick up the arm at the back, and then bring it back to the front. And then reversing again. So I'm going to do one circle, going around one way, one circle coming around the other way, and then reversing again. Just make sure that the movement doesn't grind on the shoulders. So same as you did for the lateral raise, same as you did for the front raise. It could be a very small circle. It could be a very big circle. Just make sure that it feels smooth on the shoulder. So it's not creating tension, it's not creating pain, it's not creating discomfort. 3, and then reversing, going the other way. 2, and reversing again. Last one, and returning the arm back, relaxing the shoulders. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So if you're laying down, rolling over onto the other side or switching yourself around, set in the same position. And then same as before, I'm going to start swinging the arm up to the front, circle around, turn to follow the arm, come back to the front, and then reverse in the circle from the bottom all the way around to the top, back into the starting position, and then reversing it again. If you're on your side, just remember the knees are tucked in, the weight is on the back of the shoulder. I can make my circle small again. I can make it big. However big or small it is, no pain. 5, 4, 3, 2, Last one. And easing back, relaxing the shoulder, relaxing the arm. If you're laying down, rolling over onto your back, resetting your neutral. If you're seated, straightening out the back, relaxing into the shoulders, and then going back into the leg. I'm going to focus on the hip flexors, front of the hip. I'm going to place the ball between my right hand and right thigh, or left hand, left thigh. It doesn't matter. We're going to be doing both. And then I'm going to try and lift the leg against the ball. So I'm going to push away with the hand, and then I'm going to try and pull my foot off the floor. Then ease the tension, and then again, push away with the hand, and then try to pull up with the leg. See if you can be aware. So the leg might not move at all. So the foot might not even lift off the ground. But as I push with the arm and try to lift with the leg against that pressure, I should be able to feel the front of the hip connecting, and also a little tension into the side of the belly too. So I can feel this band here tightening. And then I'm just going to release. So I'm going to try and tighten and release. So see if I can be aware of the hip flexors switching itself on. If you're seated, you can still use the ball, but because the leg is much closer to you, you might just use the hand directly onto the leg. So it's up to you. So I can push down with the hand and then try to pull up with the leg. I can feel the hip working, releasing the tension, and then again, down with the hand, up with the leg. And then ease the tension. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And release, relaxing the hip. I'm going to switch to the other side. So using the ball between the hand and the leg if I want to, or just placing the hand directly onto the leg if I'm seated. If I'm laying down, I need a little wedge as the leg is further away. And then exactly the same. I'm going to push away with the hand and then trying to pull up with the leg. Ease the tension, push away, and then pull up with the leg. And then same as on the other side. I can feel that little twitching, the little tensing right at the front of the hip. I can feel a little tension into the side of the belly. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10, and release. Relaxing into the hip, releasing into the leg. I'm going to move back onto the right side, but this time I'm going to reverse the effort. So instead of trying to pull against the resistance of the band, I'm going to push. Imagine the ball to be under your right foot. If you can get it there, you can even try with the ball under the foot or the cushion under the foot. And then I'm going to push down into the ball this time, or just push straight down into the floor. So with the right foot, I'm going to press down into the floor and then release. Press down into the floor and release, as if I was trying to get the foot through the ground, through the floor. See if you can notice what's happening when you press down. So as I push down into the floor, I can feel my hamstrings, and I can feel a little tension also into the hip, into the glute. I can feel that the joint is kind of like locking and stiffening to allow me to create that pressure. If you're seated, it's easier if you lean forward into the leg slightly. That is going to kind of like bring a little bit more tension into the leg. So I'm going to lean forward and press down on the right leg and then release. Lean forward and press down into the right leg and release. If you're lying down, obviously you can't lean into the leg. So I'm just going to push hard into the right leg until I can feel the back of the bum and the back of the leg tensing, and then release the pressure. Push down into the leg and then release that pressure. 5, 4, relaxing the neck, relaxing the jaw. 3, 2, and then last one. And release. Relaxing the leg, releasing the hip, switch inside. So other leg, I'm going to put the ball under the foot if I want to use the ball or the cushion, and then I'm going to push the foot down. Release the tension, push it down. The same as on the other side. See if I can feel the joint kind of like locking, stiffening a little bit. And then I'm just going to ease that tension. Pressing and then letting go. Pressing and letting go. And then, as usual, see if you can notice any difference. I might find that on the right side, I could feel it perfectly. On the left side, I'm struggling to get that feel. So really picture the back of the hip, the back of the bum, and the back of the leg. See if I can, when I push down into that leg, into the foot, picture those muscles tightening. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Relaxing into the leg, releasing into the hip. And then I want a little bit more tension, but this time working through the inner thigh. So I'm going to grab hold of my ball, my towel, my cushion. I'm going to put it between the knees. And then shuffling the feet nice and close together. If I can get them to touch, good. If I can't get them to touch, or I find that if my feet touch is uncomfortable, I'm just going to keep them slightly separate. At the same time, both legs, I'm going to squeeze them into the ball. So I'm going to press into the ball. And then I want you to press as hard as you can, as if you were trying to pop the ball. So I'm going to squeeze 100% tension. I'm going to hold that tension. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Keep the squeeze. I wanted to ease to a 50% tension, so just about halfway. So I'm still squeezing hard, but not 100% hard. Holding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ease the tension a little bit more. Think of dropping down to a 30%. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And release. Relax into the inner thighs, relax into the hips. I'm going to switch the effort from the inside to the outside. I'm going to ditch the ball, and then I'm going to grab hold of my belt or my strap. I'm just going to wrap the band around the legs. I can hold it with the arms, or as usual, I can just tie it around the knees so that I don't have to worry about holding it there. And then this time, instead of squeezing in, I'm trying to push out. So I'm going to push out into the band, just a little tension. I'm going to hold the tension there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. See if you can squeeze it a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. See if you can squeeze a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and easing back, easing the tension of the band. I'm going to release the band, release the legs, give the legs a little walk, a little shake. And then when you're ready, if you're lying down, rolling over onto your side, and in your own time, pushing yourself up into sitting. Finding that comfortable seated position that allows me to sit upright. So leaning against something sturdy that is not moving, finding position that works for the legs. See if you can lift up nice and tall over the seat bones. The shoulders are staying down. I'm going to try and open up the front of the body. So same as usual, think of the chest pushing forward, the breastbone lifting up. Feel that lift, the breastbone pulling away from the pubic bone. I'm going to lengthen through the front of the throat, lifting the chin. I'm going to look forward. I'm going to look up. I'm going to look back. And then I'm going to release and come forward, allowing the chin to drop down to the chest, the shoulders to roll forward, the back to roll down as far down as I feel safe, as I feel comfortable, and then back in reverse. The hips go up, lower back, rib cage, shoulders, the head, nice lift through the front of the chest, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then easing forward again, curling your way forward into flexion. And then last time, uncurling all the way back up. As much space at the front of the body as I possibly can. Shoulders back, shoulders down. The chest is lifted, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then easing back to the front. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back. Take your bow. Give yourself